Hi, my name is Leah. Some of you may know me as Capturing the Corners. This is my story. Yep, that little alien-looking thing is me. Ain't I a cutie? I was born in Rochester, New York on November 11th, 1992. It was a snowy night, which is ironic because I hate the cold and the snow. These are my parents, my dad and my mom. They got married pretty young. I think they were around 19 or 20 years old. But anyways, we didn't stay in New York for too long. We moved to Texas, where my mom had me and my sister back to back. Oops. The marriage didn't exactly go as planned, and when I was 5 years old, my parents divorced, and me and my sister went to live with my mom until I was 9. We didn't exactly have the easiest childhood, but we definitely tried to stay happy, and I know my parents did everything in their power to make that possible. Plus, I had my sister by my side, so that made it a lot easier. And yes, those are mice on our head. Mice. While we were living with our mom, we used to take frequent trips up to Indiana. I loved those road trips and getting to see my papa and my grandma. But I started to notice over time that Papa was changing. He started twitching a lot and falling over. He started acting like a different person, and I became unfamiliar with who he was. But being the curious soul that I've always been, I asked a lot of questions, but I didn't get very many answers. They told me it was something called Huntington's disease, which I knew you could inherit, but my family assured me that only males could get it. So eventually I just stopped asking questions and went on with my life. I kind of pushed it to the back of my mind and didn't think about it anymore. As I grew older, I started to feel different. Around age 12, I noticed that I was sad all the time and crying for no reason. I was so confused. I had no idea what was happening to me. I thought that if I ignored it, it would just go away, but honestly, it just got worse over time and kind of snowballed into really bad depression. I was so confused and I wanted answers. For some reason, I couldn't stop thinking about the disease that my papa had, so I did some research. And I found out that my family had been lying to me. Huntington's disease was a hereditary disease that males and females could inherit from their parents. I know that they were just trying to protect me, and I could understand why. The disease is a fatal genetic disorder that causes the progressive breakdown of nerve cells in the brain. It deteriorates your physical and mental abilities during your prime working years, and there's no cure. Which meant that if my mom had it, that me and my sister each had a 50-50 chance of inheriting Huntington's disease. But, like I said, I'm a curious soul, so I got tested. Positive. I was terrified. I had the same disease that turned my papa from a kind, hardworking, passionate man into this. I was angry, so hurt, and mad at God for cursing me with this awful disease. My depression got so much worse. I honestly thought that no one would ever want to marry me because I would be a burden. I would never be able to have kids. I would end up losing my mind and my body and have to watch my mom go through the same thing. I didn't know what to do, and at times, I didn't even want to live. I stayed in bed for weeks at a time, hoping to just sleep off the depression. Deep down, I think that I just wanted to wake up and realize that it was all just a horrible nightmare. I know that my family was so worried about me, but I just couldn't bring myself to get out of bed. I felt so alone. I needed support, and I needed to be around people who knew what I was going through. I finally managed to muster up what little strength that I had to go to a support group being held by the Huntington's Disease Society of America. I was so shocked to find out that other people were going through the exact same thing that I was. Everyone was so open and honest and kind, and they allowed me to share my story without feeling any shame or guilt for what I was going through. The love and encouragement that they offered so openly encouraged me to get back into writing and share my story with the world. I had no idea that all the pain and suffering that I had struggled through would be able to reach out and help other people. And you know what? I wouldn't take it back. As soon as it was published, I was getting comments and messages and texts and phone calls with people so full of love and support and who were going through the exact same thing that I was. And from there, my heart started to mend. Joining the HDSA really helped me get back on my feet and to channel everything that I was feeling into writing. At times, I'm thankful that I tested positive for Huntington's disease because it allows me to help others and build a bond that I wouldn't have otherwise. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "The purpose of life is not to be happy. It is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it make some difference that you have lived and lived well." And that is what I want to live by. And so I will continue to fight against Huntington's disease and mental illness until there is a cure for both. Through writing and all the amazing support I get from the HD community, I've come to realize that my disease does not define me. I get to define my disease. I am capturing the corners.